Hey guys, sometimes as Christians, we often hear people criticize our faith and reduce it to belief in some kind of myth. But did you know that there are 5 generally undisputed historical facts about Jesus? If you haven't heard what's often called the minimal facts argument before, I'm about to share it in about 2 quick minutes. But first, just to remind us, it's important to every believer that we know what we believe and why we believe it. And I'm sure your pastor would agree. And if not, maybe he learned something a lot different in seminary than I did. But we learn from 1 Peter 3:15, in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks for a reason for the hope that is in you. I should be able to offer them a valid reason, whether personal experience and testimony, or the reliability of the historical record. And the more valid reasons that we can give for our faith in Christ, the better witnesses that we'll be and more effectively answer the Great Commission to make disciples of all people. So let's get right into it. There's 5 generally undisputed facts about the historical Jesus. And what I mean by undisputed is that they're generally agreed among scholars, not just evangelical or conservative, but critical, even atheist scholars and historians. And that is, 1, that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate. 2, the disciples truly believe that Jesus rose from the dead and claim to have experiences with a literal risen Christ. 3, the disciples were transformed from scared and hiding doubters to boldly proclaiming Christ, even willing to die for what they believed. 4, Paul, a known persecutor of the church, was converted after having a similar resurrection experience. Also, James, the brother of Jesus, a longtime skeptic, was converted only after Christ's supposed resurrection. And finally, the tomb was found empty shortly after Christ's death and burial. Why are these facts so significant? Because if Jesus didn't really rise from the dead, then you have to provide the best plausible explanation for these facts. And when you look at some of the alternatives, they're highly implausible given the historical data. Explanations like Jesus may not have actually died on the cross, that the body may have been stolen, that the disciples and many others who witnessed the risen Christ lied, or even all suffered mass hallucination. But even critical scholars like Bart Ehrman admit that these are all highly implausible given the facts. But since they're still more plausible than a miracle, we must be open to any other possibility other than Jesus actually rising from the dead. So here we see it's not the historical evidence or the lack of evidence that casts doubt on the resurrection, only a rejection of a miracle being possible. Yes, sometimes as believers, we can be pretty biased, believing things without question. But a person who rejects the historical claims of the Bible only because they refuse to believe the supernatural is possible, is that a form of anti-supernatural bias? These historical facts are just one of the many reasons why I believe that Jesus was truly who he claimed to be.